Lead-based paint disclosures are real estate forms that explain the dangers associated with lead-based paints. Whether you're buying, selling, renting, or leasing, if you're involved in some kind of transaction with real property, there's a good chance that you will be legally required to provide or assign a lead-based paint disclosure. In this video, we'll talk about what they are, what the relevant laws are, and what the disclosures should contain. First, why do I need a lead-based paint disclosure? For many years, lead-based paints were standard in all kinds of construction. Adding lead, it was thought, helped paint dry more quickly and spread over bigger surfaces. But by the 20th century, people started to realize that putting lead in paint was not a good idea. Lead is a toxin that harms the central nervous system, and children would often eat paint chips that fell away from old surfaces, which in severe cases resulted in permanent brain damage. As a result, beginning in 1978, the United States banned the practice of putting lead in paints used in buildings. But what to do about the many homes that had already been built with walls and ceilings covered in lead paint? Along with banning new lead paints, the law also required property owners to disclose the risks of lead-based paints when selling or renting properties built before February of 1978, when the law went into effect, so that parents might be better equipped to prevent their children from consuming the harmful paint chips. So you own a property built before 1978. What should be included in a disclosure? The disclosure will vary slightly depending on whether the property is being sold or rented, but many of the requirements are the same. Here is what to include. An explanation of the law. The disclosure should note that landlords and sellers are legally required to disclose this information for homes built before 1978. An explanation of the risks. Some description of the medical hazards posed by consuming lead-based paint, particularly to children and their development. Acknowledgements. The landlord or seller must state what actual knowledge they have about the particular property, including what surfaces contain lead-based paints and what records are available about the presence of such paints. The tenant or buyer should be given a place to acknowledge that these disclosures have been made. In the case of sales, buyers also have a right to a 10-day period before closing to have an inspection of the property done to check for the presence of lead-based paints. This information should be provided in the disclosure, and the buyer should indicate whether or not one will take place. We're eForms, the world's biggest database of legal documents. To get an easy, fillable lead-based paint disclosure, click right here. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos that will help you stay organized.